The 21 missions of Alta California were built over roughly 60 years, and while each had its own story, certain patterns repeat across the whole chain. Let me give you the shape of it through a few key examples. It began with San Diego de Alcalá in 1769, built next to the homeland of the Kumeyaay people. Just 6 years later, the Kumeyaay rose up and destroyed the original church, an early sign that indigenous resistance was a constant feature of this era, not an exception. Further north, Mission San Gabriel Arcangel became an economic powerhouse, running tens of thousands of cattle and sheep and some of California's first commercial vineyards. And the missions kept growing in scale. San Jose de Guadalupe eventually held the largest neophyte population of any mission, over 1,800 people. The most dramatic episode of resistance was the Chumash Revolt of 1824. It was triggered by the flogging of a neophyte at Mission Santa Ynez, and it spread rapidly to La Purísima and Santa Barbara. At La Purísima, several hundred Chumash held the mission for about a month before Spanish forces, using artillery, crushed the uprising. 7 Chumash leaders were executed. Many others fled to the interior San Joaquin Valley rather than return to mission life, a deliberate collective act of self-determination. When the dust settled on the whole mission period, an estimated 53,000 indigenous Californians had been baptized into the system. The missions formed the economic backbone of colonial California, their workforces producing the surpluses that fed the soldiers and fueled trade. But the human cost was staggering and permanent. Through epidemic disease, malnutrition, forced labor, and psychological displacement, the native population kept collapsing, falling below 150,000 by the time of Mexican independence in 1821. Many scholars of indigenous history now describe this as a form of cultural genocide. Here is the paradox that defines the mission legacy today. The architecture is everywhere. The red tile roofs, whitewashed walls, arched colonnades, and bell towers that we now market as Spanish colonial revival style. It's one of the most recognizable regional aesthetics in America. And yet the indigenous peoples whose labor built those walls, and whose societies were shattered inside them, remain largely invisible in that romantic image. A complete and honest account of California has to hold both of those things in view at once: the beauty of the buildings and the catastrophe they represent. In the next segment, we move past the missions into the Mexican era.